Okay, guys, we've waited 2 weeks. It's always tough when there's a break in between chapters, but this week, are we finally gonna find out if Komurasaki really is Lady Hiyori for realsies? Yes, she is. Yes, she is. I know a lot of people were confused by that plot thread, but yes, it is confirmed she is Lady Hiyori. This will be One Piece chapter 939, titled The Old Leper's Claws Are Still Sharp, or also there's another version of it, which is like, you can't teach an old horse a new... Okay, listen, they're trying to make a pun off of like a Japanese proverb, and I don't think it's translating to English too well. Here's my corrected title of the chapter. Old Man Hyou kicks ass! Because guess what? He does! Now, we'll hold off on that to the end of the chapter, but yeah, Old Man Hyou, don't take his stature for just nothing. He can actually, boom! He can knock some people down, alright? So, that's good. At least he can help out Luffy while in the sumo arena. You know, Luffy doesn't have to do all the work. Well, Luffy still does most of the work, but, you know, we'll get to that. Alright, so cover page this week is nothing really crazy, except it features Jinbei finally. Holy crap, I mean, I know it's just a cover page, it's non-canon, but still, come on, it's just nice to see the guy again. Come on, Jinbei, come on back to us, it's alright. We'll accept you into our fold. I mean, I know there's a few people that are still like, nah, we don't want Jinbei and the Straw Hats, but I think for most of the fandom, we just want him to be here for one way or the other, you know? It's just like, Jinbei shows back up and is like, Luffy, I've decided not to join your crew. I'm like, alright, whatever, as long as he's here doing stuff, you know? Make up the mind. But anyway, no, in the cover page, he's about to get a haircut by a crab. The crab is like an old-time barber dude with like a whiplash mustache. He's like, Jinbei, first son of the sea, come on in, I'll take a little bit off the top. But it's a crab barber. So all of its little pincers are like scissors, so it's like... We need this thing in Wano, okay? I don't know where this crab barber is right now, but he would be insanely useful. He doesn't even have to be good at fighting. If this thing, just imagine a giant crab. Crabs are already kind of like skeevy. I think it's because they're related to spiders and so many people are scared of spiders, so crabs kind of have that whole thing going on. But imagine a giant crab coming at you, but instead of like regular pincers, it's got like swords and scissors attached to it. Like some sort of like Edward Scissorhand crab mad scientist Frankenstein hybrid, okay? Just having him there alone, I think, would scare the beast pirates away. But anyway, that's just the cover page. Alright, so we start off the chapter in the Ringo region, in the graveyard, which also has a very homey kind of like country lodge where Hiyori and Otoko and Zoro are holed up right now after Zoro fought against Kamazo and he was bleeding out. You know, they're, you know, nursing him back to health here. So, of course, she asks Zoro about Momo. He's like, do you know my older brother, Momonosuke? Is he around, you know? She wasn't really sure if Zoro was an ally or an enemy, so she's kind of taking a gamble here, but she figured, considering Zoro saved her from Kamazo and everything, he's not a bad guy. You know, of course, Zoro is from off Wano, so they're not familiar with each other at all, so she kind of had to just take a guess and just hope she got it right. I don't really know what she would have done if it turned out Zoro was an enemy this whole time. It's like, Momo? Yeah, he's leading the rebellion. I fight for Kaido. It's like, I guess she would have just right there, right? I guess that her master-laid plans would have failed, but of course that's not the situation. So we find out the reason why Hiyori or Komurasaki decided to stay behind. Well, she didn't really decide to. I mean, Lady Toki kind of gave them an ultimatum between Momo and Hiyori. We find that out in this chapter. We also find out a little bit more about Kawamatsu. So Zoro tells her pretty much everything he knows. He's like, oh, okay, you know, I wasn't following it exactly, but I understand that Momo made a 20-year jump in time into the future, so that's the reason why he's still 8 years old and you are 26. You know, she was 6 years old back in the day, but technically Momo is still her older sister, but not biologically, so just roll with that, right? It's going to be kind of awkward when they meet each other, you know? Oh my god, I just thought of that. Okay, holy crap. This might be a little bit but think about it, okay? Momo is always that little brat that's like burying himself in Nami and Robin's cleavage, right? What if, you know, Hiyori arrives at their camp and he doesn't know that it's Hiyori. And so Momo's like, oh, another cute, you know, busty girl to like jump up and like, you know, and then it's like, oh, Momo, it's been so long. And then Momo just has this moment where he just stops, looks up and realizes it's his sister, and he like freezes. And then meanwhile, Brooke and Sanji are in the background laughing their asses off the entire time. Like, ah, yes, we knew something was finally gonna happen to you, damn brat. That's for all the times you took a bath with Robin. So, oh my God, that might actually, Oda might actually do that. That would really be funny. But anyway, you know, it's not technically, it's, all right. So anyway, though, the reason why Hiyori stayed behind, okay, I always assumed the reason why she didn't go into the future, because she's a 6-year-old, you know, girl, you know, it's like, and Lady Toki and Odin are dead, so it's like, it doesn't seem safe to be in an area burning down with Kaido and Orochi's powers looming, right? The reason isn't because of the Toki no Mi. I thought Lady Toki was like, all right, I'm gonna die, Hiyori, but I need to take my power and I need to pass it on to somebody else. I need to make sure this time fruit doesn't fall in the hands of Kaido. So when I die, my power is going to get reincarnated in this fruit. And, you know, Hiyori, you know, whenever I die, you need to eat this fruit so you can get the power. So, you know, don't have to worry about another random member of the Beast Pirates or Orochi's group finding this fruit and getting this incredibly powerful devil fruit. Not only for the fact that you don't want the Beast Pirates screwing around with the space-time continuum, they might, if somebody else gets the power of the Toki no Mi, they might be able to follow Momo and everybody into the future, and their whole plan could just go up in smoke like that. So that is still not addressed in this chapter. She might still have the Toki no Mi, but the main reason why she chose to stay behind was because if Momo and everybody got sent into the future, and if, like, let's say everybody got sent into the future, Hiyori as well, and they all got wiped out there, then the entire Kozuki clan would just be dead, and there would be no hope for it. It would be gone forever. So I guess Lady Toki's plan was like, okay, one of you has to go into the future, one of you has to stay here. So if one plan fails, there might still be hope. All right, so I guess it could have easily been Hiyori going into the future, Momo stays behind. I'm not sure if Lady Toki made the decision for them. She seems to imply, like, Hiyori here, and I'm just going to keep calling her Hiyori from now on, but Hiyori seems to imply that it was like we got to choose. Now, Momo, being the older brother and everything, you know, he was maybe like, I'm going to go into the future, Mom. You can trust me with this plan. I'll carry it out no matter what, and I'll come back for Hiyori. And so maybe that's what they decided to go with. Now with Kawamatsu, because Kawamatsu was also that short fellow with the Casa hat we also see arriving at the burning castle, right? What was the deal with him? Well, he decided to stay behind to protect Hiyori, which also makes sense because Hiyori was, you know, 6 in a burning castle. So she goes on about how Kawamatsu, who was also apparently a Kappa. Now, Kappa, this is interesting because we always thought he was an otter mink. We figured he was a mink, but, you know, it's like, okay, it must be an otter mink. Maybe that's how I can eat the fish and everything and spit the bones back out in the prison. Kappas do not look like otters. Kappas are like a yokai, like a mythical, like a folklore creature in Japanese mythology, and they basically resemble, it literally means river child is Kappa, okay, river child. And so they're basically little imps or, you know, like tiny little creatures, green skin, webbed fingers, and they have turtle shells. And so they're like a cross between turtles and humans, green skin and all that. So not really as adorable as an otter, not even really close to an otter. So yeah, you guys throw out what you, I mean, now listen, we could always go the Peckham's route with this. We could always have him being an otter mink that has the power of a zone that turns him into another animal. However, it can't be a turtle zone because Peckham's had that. So here's the possibility. How about we do this? Little bit of theory magic here. How about we have Kawamatsu base form an otter mink. He is an otter mink, but then he had the mythical zone variant of the Kame no Mi, the turtle fruit that Peckham's ate and became a Kappa otter person mink. Yeah, samurai. Yeah, that's a Kappa Otter samurai. Let's go with that. And also, that would maybe make sense because let's say, you know, we don't know where Peckham's ate his devil fruit, but let's say he found the turtle devil fruit on Zou and Kawamatsu also found another extension, like both of these rare turtle fruits were on the island at the same time. And so, you know, Peckham's ate the regular zone variant of the turtle fruit and Kawamatsu ate the mythical variant, which was a Kappa. So I'm gonna roll with that because I still like the idea of him being an otter. I think it fits in a lot of respects. There's also a tale that Hyou spins here about when the castle was burning down, Odin is dead, Toki sends everybody into the future, and it's implied she died, like, right after that. Like, there wasn't even a moment, like, where Toki was like, all right, everybody go into the future now, and then she sends everybody into the future, and she's like, okay, Hyou, let's get out of here. No, it's implied, like, all right, everybody go into the future now. All right, Kawamatsu, take Hyou, I'm gonna burn to death in this castle. Ah! And then that's what's implied. So anyway, then Kawamatsu takes Hyou, dives into an underground waterway in the castle and manages to get away, digs a hole, gets into the waterway, and manages to escape the burning castle. And then Kawamatsu begins to raise up Hyou, kind of very similar to how Corazon, grew up with Law, and just like they traveled around. It was just the two of them and stuff, and Law was a child, so he couldn't really fend for himself. And so, well, yeah, he was Law as a child. He's the kind of kid that strapped a bunch of grenades to him, so he could maybe survive a little bit more. But Hyou was 6, and she's this a girl from nobility, so she was just really scared and all that. And everybody she cared about, both of her parents are dead, and her brother is sent into the future, as well as all their retainers are gone. So it's pretty much just her and Kawamatsu, because that's what Hyou calls him. He was a Kappa, and he would often do the Kappa dance. So he'd be like, "Hey, Lady Hyou, check me out. To forget about all your worries and all the horrible stuff that's about to happen to this country. Kappa dance, Kappa, 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 Kappa." And that's his laughter style. Also, I'm just gonna roll up. So he's still in silhouette. We really don't get to see Kawamatsu too much, but he seems like a fun guy. I think we're gonna like Kawamatsu when he finally makes his proper introduction. Kappa, Kappa, Kappa. Okay, so yeah, that's the situation there with how they made their escape and why Hyou stayed behind. Few other things to note here. Otoko knows all of this. Otoko was pretty much the only person that Hyou really told her story to, probably because Toko was this little girl in the red light district, and maybe Hyou felt bad for her, and so they kind of developed a bond because she was in that position herself when she was a little girl, and so they confided in each other, and so that's why they're like sisters basically. I'm so glad Komurasaki turned out to be a good person, because her first introduction did not speak wonders, right? But anyway, something else that's important is, what about the separation? How did Kawamatsu and Hyou, what happened? How did Kawamatsu end up in the prison, and how did Hyou end up as Komurasaki? Well, she says that they were separated when she was about 13 years old. Okay, so that would have been accurate, because when we saw Raizo speaking with Kawamatsu in the prison, he said that I've been in this cell, chained up in these rusty trains. I've been in here for like 13 years. Okay, if she was 6 when, the whole thing went down 20 years ago, 7 years later, she would have been 13. And so, wait, 6, 7, yep, 7 years later, she would have been 13. And, Kawamatsu maybe got, I'm not exactly sure what the exchange was there. Somehow Hyou managed to get away. Kawamatsu was found out and captured, and he's been in the prison ever since. But I'm sure he'll still be able to fight once you free him. This is One Piece logic, after all. You could just take him out of the prison, and he's all maybe like this emaciated old Kappa. Just give him some food and a good night's sleep, and he'll be like, "Baku, Kappa, let's do this." So, that's how that's probably going to have to go there. I'm assuming Hyou at that point, she was 13. She was in the red light district, and at that point, she began her rise as a courtesan. She was in training like Otoko is right now, and then she eventually rose to the level of the most revered courtesan in the entire country. So, yeah, I'm not probably going to go into detail there on what she probably had to all do, but I think you could probably fill in the gaps yourself. Okay, there's actually a really funny scene here where she's so happy that everybody's okay. Like, everybody made it out okay, and she has this cute little expression on her face like, "Oh my god, I'm just so happy, everything worked out." Like, well, don't be counting your chickens yet, Hyou. I don't know. Some people still might die by the end of this arc. But anyway, in other news, we find out who the 9 Red Scabbards are. I just made a video about this like last week, and I kind of, honestly, my original assumption on who the 9 Red Scabbards are was correct, like 100%. I was thinking too much about it. So the 9 Red Scabbards are Kinemon, Kanjuro, Raizo, Kiku, Inuarashi, Nekomamushi, Kawamatsu, Ashura Doji, and Denjiro. There you go. I already assumed they were, but I was kind of hesitant about Inuarashi and Nekomamushi, because the way I assumed the 9 Red Scabbards were set up, they were like the private guard of Odin, and so how would it make sense for Nekomamushi and Inuarashi to be a member of like your elite palace guard when they live on Zou? Yeah, Inuarashi and Nekomamushi, they washed ashore at Wano when they were little kids, but for the last 20 or so years, you know, they've been the Duke of the day and night over at Zunisha, right? That's what they've been doing, so it's not like they're there, and I'm assuming they spend most of their life at Zou rather than Wano. But hey, I mean, you make them members in case they ever come to town. They'll be really useful in a fight, and they're there right now, so it doesn't matter. Although Zoro does mention, he's like, well, I know Inuarashi is here on Wano, but I don't know about Nekomamushi. He hasn't arrived yet. Last time we saw Nekomamushi, he was at Sphinx Island talking to Marco. Marco was going to give him a message, and as Nekomamushi and the rest of the Forest Guardians are going to head to Wano now. So they haven't arrived yet, but they're probably going to get there very soon. But yeah, those are the 9 Red Scabbards. So we know about Ashura Doji, who is Shutenmaru. We know about Kawamatsu. The only enigma here, the only real mystery is still Denjiro. It might be Yasu, who also probably would be like Ox 3 boy, or it might be somebody completely different we just haven't met yet. Who knows? Denjiro might turn out to be a traitor or a villain. He might like, oh yeah, I was working for the Kozuki clan long ago, but I've went over to Orochi's side since then, and he might pretend to be their ally and then turn out to be a villain. Who knows, right? But at any rate, Hiyori is pretty ecstatic about how everybody is still alive for right now, and they, you know, Zoro's there, and then after he gets better, they'll get out of there and they'll go meet back up with everybody, right? Now, as for Zoro, he's kind of like talking about, yeah, well, we had this piece of paper, you know, and it kind of leaked, so it's a good thing in the sense that it's spread to everywhere, but it's a bad thing now because they know our meeting spot. They know about the plan, right? And Hiyori's like, well, what are we gonna do? And Zoro is basically pretty chill with it. He's kind of just like, he throws out an expression like, we have a lot of boatmen, but the boat's still not going anywhere, or it's not going the way we want it. So he basically just lays back down. That's Zoro's expression. Like, you know what, we got a bunch of people right now, all a bunch of these moving parts, but nothing seems to be getting done, so nothing's going to be helped by me trying to rack my brain about this, so I'm just going to chill out here and take a nap. So, I mean, really, he's not wrong. I mean, like, Zoro is not this brilliant tactician. I mean, leave that shit to, like, Kinemon and Law and everybody, you know? We don't know anything about Law in this chapter, though, although we do end up seeing Beppo and everybody later. So, yeah, I mean, they might have to redo the plan, or they might have to, I don't know what they're going to do. How would they change the plan now that everybody knows when it is? Like, exactly when and where it's going to take place. You can't send out, like, a revision. You can't, like, oh, by the way, let me just do this quick little tweet just to let everybody know we're not meeting at 5:30 at Habu Harbor. We're meeting at 6:30. That'll throw them off. You know, like, you can't do that, so I'm not sure how they're going to change their plan, but I know Zoro's not going to be the one to figure that out. So he lays down. Hiyori is still going on and on about, oh, it's been how long, and Momonosuke is still only 8 years old, and everything's gonna be good now, and everything. Zoro's like, would you just be quiet? I'm trying to take a nap. And then he just conks out, Otoko conks out, and Hiyori is just off to the side praying that everything works out okay. So, you know, I mean, it's a happy moment. You know, Zoro's getting some Z's. We all know about Zoro. Just give him a good, like, 5-6 hours of sleep. He'll wake up, his wound will be all closed up, he'll be good. But anyway, now we cut over to a new district inside the flower capital. This is the Rasetsu town. Haven't seen this place yet, where we have this giant prison house, or also known as the prisoner showcase, or the prisoner gallery. So what this was, and I guess what the reference here is, way back in the day, what you would have is like a prostitute gallery, I guess. Like a building that's structured in a way where you can see inside of it, like maybe not necessarily windows, but just like bars in front of it so you can kind of peek in. And I guess the general idea is, you know, you are walking down the road at evening time and you look through the showcase here and you like, oh yes, I would like that one please. That would be the general idea. And then they would come out and perform their services, and then, you know, that's the end of the night. Okay, great. So in this situation though, it's turned into a prison. So basically it's just an area for public debasing of prisoners and traitors to Orochi. You'd have this big area set up and everyone can gather around and be like, boo, freaking Kozuki clan rebels, you know. And so of course you have the ninja there, you had the guy with the giant head, Furu Kokuju or whatever his name is, and he's holding up the thing and he's just like, you guys can't deny it, you're all rebels. All of the samurai that we pretty much saw looking at the flyer all over Wano, that really cool guy that has the scar, that guy with the beard, they all got caught and they all got thrown into this place and everybody's just kind of staring at them. I mean, they have prison guards too standing there, but also the people in the streets are all just shouting stuff at them. You know, it's like, you suck, Orochi forever! And so, you know, the samurai inside, they're trying to plead with them. They're like, oh, how do you know that the mark on the ankle, this is just a fad, dude. This is just a thing I got when I was going through that edgy phase in high school, you know? Like, yeah, Kozuki clan are the best. We all know the Orochi clan are the best, right? Is there an Orochi clan, or is it just Orochi? That doesn't seem good, because if Orochi dies, then his reign just ends right there, and who else takes up after him, right? So that actually might be something else I'm interested in. Like, is there a line of succession for Orochi, or was he just some random guy off the street that somehow managed to gain power somehow? But anyway, yeah, so now we cut back over to the prison. Oh, before we cut back, though, we do get to see Beppo, Sachi, and Penguin. They're in the prison house as well, and they looking rough, guys. They look like they got the shit beat out of them. Beppo and everybody, they're all bloodied, and they're on the floor. They can't even stand up. They're like, oh, Captain! Please tell me that we didn't spread any news, we didn't say anything, you know. So they're like, oh, but Captain will come and save us. So yeah, Law's gonna come and save them, but they're worried about, like, oh, you know, they're not the ones that, you know, spilled the beans about the whole operation, all right? They're just sitting there bleeding out. So I hope Law, I think next chapter we're gonna get a prison break again. Okay, maybe we have 2 prison breaks simultaneously. I think that'd be the best way to do it, you know, like Luffy and Hyou break out of the Udon prison, Law shows up and busts Beppo and everybody and frees all the samurai out of this prison so they have some new allies, and we can have just, you know, 2 prison breaks in 1 chapter. I think that'd be the easiest way to go about it there. Alright, so now we cut over to the last scene of the chapter. This is over at the Udon Mine, where we have Sumo Inferno still going on. Round 9! I don't know what round it is, but I'm imagining they're ranking up, because now we're getting some Smile users into the ring. We have Alpaca Man, who is a famous ringer here. In this corner, weighing at 432 pounds, with a giant neck and a spitting problem, is Alpaca Man. And in this corner, weighing at 932 pounds, we have Madillo Man, and it's an armadillo smile, and I love armadillos. I did that devil fruit contest, and one of the traditional zones, I think number 8 was the armadillo zone, so that's great. We got to see that here conceptualized. He's basically just a big guy with a beard, and he has an armadillo shell walking around with little armadillo legs poking out next to him. But hey, it looks a lot better than Alpaca Man or all the other weird smile combinations with like random animal faces jutting out of their gullets, so it looks cool, right? We got Armadillo Man, and as you can imagine, Armadillo Man's main focus is defense, so, you know, you have to watch out for that, right? By the way, did you know armadillos can carry leprosy? That's kind of sucky, you know? I've always wanted a pet armadillo. Do you ever see those things walk? They're adorable. They have like little feet, so they're like... But yeah, they carry leprosy, so be careful. Careful about the armadillos. But anyway, Luffy and Hyou are still there, and it's kind of become sort of like a comedy routine, like a Three Stooges kind of deal at this point, because Luffy now has observation haki, and he can see a little bit into the future, kind of similar to Katakuri. I don't think he can see as far into the future as Katakuri. Maybe he has to work on it a little bit. I don't like to think Luffy has mastered this technique so quickly. Maybe he has, because he seems pretty confident in it. He's just like, you know, old man Hyou, you move to the left. Now move to the right. Crisscross. And he's jumping up and down and listening to Luffy's instructions as Alpaca Man's like, what? How can I get over here, you stupid geriatric? You know, and he's just jumping around, and Hyou is pretty agile for an old dude, right? He's just jumping around and everything. Luffy's pretty chill with everything. He's like, now go left, now just go right. And Hyou's like, how are you doing this? Can you see the future? Now go left. Okay, but seriously, you don't, now jump. Okay. So he's just listening to everything Luffy's saying. So now Armadillo Man steps up to bat. He's like, dun, 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 dun. We need to get some badass soundtracks for Armadillo Man. We need to get some Guns N' Roses or something in the background. I don't know, because Armadillo Man, he is the star of this arc so far, easily, even more so than Kaido. Luffy actually mentions Kaido. Hold on, we'll get to that. So anyway, Luffy goes back and jumps forward, about to attack Armadillo Man, and of course he's an armadillo, so he basically, it's funny, he's like, oh, I'm an armadillo, so I could just defend myself, and then you just have the face of the armadillo, like the head of it, just kind of like do this to his head, just whoop. Just cover up his head, which doesn't look like it would protect him all that much. You think he would like curl up into a giant ball if he was going to do anything, but that's the joke. So, but it doesn't matter anyway, because Luffy's about to like, hit him, but then he stops short. He doesn't hit him. And he's like, dang it. He looks down at his arm, and he has the vulcanization. He has his regular armament Haki, and he's like, man, that's just regular armament Haki. I'm trying to do something else here. So, of course, he references again. He was trying to do like the thing Sentomaru did with the Ashiara Dokoi, or the thing Marigold did, you know, blocking the shot, or when Rayleigh took out that giant elephant. You know, some kind of Haki that's still armament, but, you know, attacking from a distance, or like shockwaves before it actually hits you. That's what Luffy keeps trying to do. And Hyou finally notices this, and he's like, kid, what are you doing? You keep about ready to attack them, and then you stop short. Like, dang, that's not right. Dang, that's not right. What's going on? And so Luffy explains to him really quickly just a concept of armament. He's like, well, there's this thing called armament Haki, and I can do it, but I think there's like another kind that allows you to hit your opponents from a distance and knock them back and stuff, and I've seen it done, but I just don't know how to do it. I was thinking maybe if I learn that ability, I might be able to damage Kaido's scales. I might be able to break through him if I could do that, you know? And so Hyou is actually knowledgeable of this, sort of. He mentions that he knows the whole concept of armament Haki, because we've seen plenty of samurai use, like Kinemon and Kanjuro can both use armament. So the concept exists in Wano, but just like a lot of other things like devil fruits and all that, they call it something different. We don't actually get the name of what it's called in Wano, but he says, you know, oh, I was taught this by a sword master long ago, how to infuse the power of your will into a blade, and it becomes a black blade. And I also know another technique that is probably going to be useful to you. It might be the thing that you want to do. I'm not sure if I can teach it to you, but I can do it. And so that's when Hyou decides to bust out his attack against Alpaca Man. Alpaca Man's rearing back, and Luffy's like, he's gonna swing with all his might. Get back, old man. And at that point, like, Hyou's entire body seems to go vulcanization, like it all goes black at once, like, kind of like what Virgo did, or Pika, except this time it's way cooler. And then all of the armament, all the vulcanization just gets channeled into his arm alone. He's like, boom! And then just flashed, freaking Alpaca Man just smacks into the ground. And at the end of the chapter, and everybody's looking at him like, what? That's awesome! And Luffy's, of course, like, Sugoi! You know, he's just like, oh, old man Hyou, I didn't know you could do that this entire time. And the end of the chapter is Hyou basically just looking at Luffy and just like, well, if that's what you want to do, I think I might be able to teach it to you. You want me to? And Luffy's like, absolutely, teach me, old man! And that's the end of the chapter there. So, we got a little bit more of introspection into Haki, which is cool. You know, I don't know about this. You know, I think Luffy probably isn't going to attain the same level as Rayleigh, like he's able to like repel a giant elephant weighing several tons. Alpaca Man really wasn't all that girthy, you know what I mean? So I'm thinking though, Luffy could probably get up to the level of like Sentomaru or you know, Marigold, what they were doing, you know, like Marigold can like block his shot with this. It originally seemed like this kind of armament Haki seemed more focused on defensive purposes. So it might be possible, I'm not really sure, but it might be possible that there's like two different kinds of Haki to learn, you know, because I don't think Sentomaru at Sabaody, I mean, he had that kind of Haki, but I don't think it was like crazy high level. So maybe it's like a thing with different paths you can take. Like you can either learn the vulcanization, or you can learn learn, the press kind of thing Haki. Because Doflamingo also used the armament all the time. You figure if this was a thing where it's like, okay, you got to do vulcanization first, and then if you get that high enough level, then you go into the invisible Haki. You'd think if that was the case, Dofi would be able to do that. If anybody would have, but he was still using the vulcanization same as Luffy, as well as a lot of the other characters. So I don't necessarily think it's a progression, like you have to start off with vulcanization and then you eventually get to a level where you can do this. I think it might just be like two different schools of armament Haki, if you want to think of it like that. Where Sentomaru doing all the thrusts and everything, that was like basic kind of stuff. Probably what Hyou was doing here was probably a little bit high level, and then what Rayleigh did against that elephant was insanely high level, where he didn't even have to come close to the elephant. The elephant basically just talked to the hand and just boom, just got blown away. So yeah, I'm thinking there's something like that that's with Haki. He's like, Luffy just happened to learn the vulcanization first, but there is this other school of Haki that teaches like that invisible kind. Any kind of Haki, when you train with it enough, can become insanely powerful. Doesn't matter if it's the vulcanization or this invisible type. I'm hoping we get a name for it sooner or later. But yeah, I'm just glad old man Hyou was able to pull some stuff off, and now we have a mentor for Luffy. Luffy trained with his physical strength, and now we can get him and old man Hyou to escape the prison, and then they're going to master Haki, or not, I guess not master it completely, but Luffy's going to train with it to get a little bit better, at least the general idea, how to break through a really hard defensive shell, kind of like Kaido's scales. That's what he's going to learn from Hyou. I also, like I said, I want to see Law show up at the prison house, break them out. As for Hiyori and Zoro and everybody, I think they're going to stay where they are for right now because they seem relatively safe. I would say after Zoro wakes up and he feels better, they would just immediately head back, but we still have Shusui to deal with. We still have to find Zoro's sword. So after he wakes back up, he's not going to want to leave Ringo. He's going to go right back to that bridge and be like, all right, come on out, random samurai monk dude, I want my sword back, and so he'll show back up and maybe they'll continue their fight, or maybe Hiyori will try to talk to him, or Zoro will try to say, come on, man, can I just have my sword back? I want it fair and square, right? So, yeah, they're not going to be leaving anytime soon. We don't know anything about where Momo is. I guess they're heading still toward the Udon prison. They haven't arrived there yet, but I'm feeling like this prison break is going to be happening pretty soon, maybe in the next chapter or so. I think it's about time for Luffy to bust out of the jail, alright? So, yeah, thanks for watching, everybody. This was a really cool chapter. And yeah, Tekking101 signing out. Later, everybody. Hyou! I gotta practice that. I'm gonna practice that. I'll get back to you, okay?